Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies. Inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
We're in Way Media. Welcome back, Midnight viewers, to Father Malone's Weekly Roundup. I'm Father Malone, and with me, as always, is my own sugar plum fairy, Miss Ripley Jean. How are you, lady? No, I'm not actually feeling the season yet. December 24th. That's usually when it kicks in. Or if I hear literally any version of Baby Please Come Home. Speaking of Christmas, speaking of current, I sincerely keep attempting to do a Christmas horror movie episode, but all this new entertainment keeps flooding my eyeballs, and it's hard not to ride that wave. You ready? Let's get it on. I was a DC Comics kid. Marvel had a healthy horror line, and that's where most of my attention would rest if I was on the other side of the comics divide, but DC was the appealing one to me. The tone overall was just darker. Certainly with my man Batman. Even though during the late 70s he was basically James Bonding around the globe and fighting ninjas. When that happened, I started getting into the less superheroic amongst the DC titles like House of Mystery or Sergeant Rock. Sergeant Rock! My God, what a book. That led me to the point of this stroll down 3 color print nostalgia lane. Once you get into the Sarge, it isn't a stretch to get into books like Star-Spangled War Stories, or, more importantly, Weird War Tales. It was an anthology, hosted by Death. It was Walt Simonson's first title. Frank Miller got his start there. It was also the title that near the end of its life, J.M. DeMatteis, who'd do a hell of a run with Captain America during the 1980s, created the Creature Commandos. Joe Kubert, God bless him, did the first cover, and Pat Broderick did the art. I'm saying all their names. Hell, I'm going to throw Len Wein in there. He was the editor at DC at the time. Those 4 guys created the Creature Commandos back in 1980. They didn't get cute little animated versions of themselves with a created by credit on the new animated show, so I just wanted to say their names out loud. J.M. DeMatteis, Joe Kubert, Pat Broderick, Len Wein. The comic took place during World War II, with the commandos based out of London. They weren't prisoners, by the way. Instead, this is a dark mirror image of Marvel's super soldier program. Each of the commandos were turned into the creatures. The lineup is Sergeant Vincent Velcro, which I love. They turned him into a vampire. Warren Griffith became a werewolf, though he doesn't need the moon to change. In fact, he really has no control at all. And Lucky Taylor, who stepped on a landmine and was Frankensteined back together into Frankenstein. A couple of issues in, they'd fuck up a mission and turn a scientist into the Gorgon. She'd fill out their roster. These guys fought dinosaurs and Nazi robots, and I fucking loved them. So when James Gunn announced not only was DC changing its logo back to the glorious 70s version, but the first phase was called Gods and Monsters. And then, on top of that, the new DCU would begin with the Creature Commandos.
General Flagg, you found yourself in the middle of an international incident.
Oh, princess.
The United States is in the business of saving the damn world by any means necessary.
What in the holy hell?
Congress said we can't use human prisoners. These assholes aren't human.
Do you understand me now?
Who is she?
We call her the Bride.
I was born here.
Who's Jason and the Argonauts?
That's Dr. Phosphorus.
Why are you doing this? It's business.
Sometimes I feel a little mad.
What is that thing?
The Weasel. We know it has what it takes to survive. That's Nina Mazursky.
Daddy?
Last one is G.I. Robot.
Cheers to the Tin Man. I know you all aren't exactly enthusiastic about this mission.
I didn't realize I had a choice.
You said you wanted me to be a hero. Not like that.
With a joy that's hard to hide.
Until we find out the truth of what's going on here. We're supposed to be on the same damn team.
G.I.
Friend Nina.
And you're bound to see my other side.
Shish kebab.
I'm just a soul whose intentions are good.
You're always so hyperbolically violent. You need therapy.
Hold on, please don't let me. Hold on, please don't let me. Please don't let me. Please don't let me.
You wanted monsters.
Don't let me.
You got monsters.
Don't let me. Hold on, please don't let me be misunderstood. Die, Nazi.
He's not a Nazi, G.I.
Oh, okay.
If you listen with any regularity, you know I think Marvel has forever dropped the ball when it comes to the supernatural. Even Thor's powers are scienced away. They're getting it together, but when I heard the Creature Commandos were the opening salvo at DC, I thought maybe Marvel's time might actually be up. And after seeing the first 2 episodes of the new animated Creature Commandos series, no, probably not. I'm just going to wait for the Ghost Rider movie. Come on, Johnny Blaze, I'm counting on you. Now, given the shakeup to the Guardians lineup, it was no surprise that these commandos would have a whole new configuration. I mean, the original Guardians were Starhawk and Major Victory and Nikki. It was James Gunn that assembled that group that we love, right? Right? No, that was Nicole Perlman. No one ever talks about Miss Perlman. She was in the writers' program in the early days of the MCU, and when asked what characters she'd like to write about, she said the Guardians. And they were intrigued enough at her oddball choice to let her assemble the team, which is what she did. Picking from the 2009 rebooted Guardians, she boiled their 14 characters down to 5, and then wrote the first draft of that script. Oh, it didn't have a Walkman in it? If you think the soundtrack is what makes The Guardians a good movie, you're out of your fucking mind. Gunn has said that the animated versions of these commando characters and their live-action counterparts will be interchangeable, which in fact is really cool because I would actually like to see these actors in these roles. And to the animators' credit, the character models could very easily be inhabited by these actors. I just want to see them in a movie written by somebody not named Gunn. The animated lineup here are the Bride, voiced and I guess played by Indira Varma. Dr. Phosphorus is Alan Tudyk. Frankenstein is David Harbour. He must have gotten a taste for Frankie with that weirdo Netflix Frankenstein thing he did. Frank Grillo is Rick Flag Sr., and Sean Gunn as Weasel, again, and G.I. Robot. Now, I have a lot of problems with this show, but G.I. Robot is not in any way one of them. Any character that's either regaling us with tales of Nazi killing or wondering when he'll be allowed to kill Nazis again is aces in my book. I'm going to get him tattooed next to Cap. It's a wild improvement over the original character. I think most of Gunn's humor is suspect, but his instinct here is right on. Overall, if you love that Suicide Squad movie he did, this is more of that. It's just a bunch of dicking around, a bunch of lame jokes, a bunch of lame dialogue, some cool set pieces, and clumsy flashbacks meant to endear us to the characters, but are so fucking transparent, it's genuinely shocking. I'm most likely in the minority on this one. I always seem to be when it comes to James Gunn, and Christopher Nolan, and Robert Eggers. Am I a snob? Good. I'm not hating just to hate. I think Gunn is the right guy to be in charge of DC. I just want him to loosen the reins and let some other talented people in there who can, make good movies and good TV shows. These are okay, but they should be fucking awesome. DC has all the potential. Did they lead with this because it was ready or because they knew Agatha all along was coming out? I don't know. It's a 7-episode show and they've only released the first 2 episodes, so who knows? It might get great. Is knowing that you're telling a multi-episode story letting writers off the hook from writing a fucking brilliant pilot? What do you think the ratio is for sustained series that you loved, that started great, versus ones that eased into greatness? I think that's worth considering, if you're high. Quiet, you narcotics officer. What do you think, listeners? Let me know your opinion. Particularly if you're in Ealing, in the UK. That's right, it's a bit, Ripley. I'm calling out the areas in which we're getting a lot of downloads, so we're spotlighting Ealing this wintry week. How's life in Ealing? Is it anything like those comedies from the 50s? Let me know. Email is in the description. You better believe I'll read them on the air. Write me a letter. I'll read it. I am not getting you an inkwell for Christmas. You can't hold a pen. Those aren't fingers, they're beads. HP, she's at it again.
Come and listen to a dog that's hip. Here we go, it's Riff Picks, yeah!
Thank you, HP, for the holidays. I'm sending you some thick, juicy steaks. What do you got, Hound? Rip's pick puts me in a weird headspace. When I was 13, when I was 23, when I was 33, I would have died to see any filmed version of Alan Moore's Watchmen. Just give me a crumb. A visual effects demo reel, anything. The movies, plural, we're talking about tonight, when they were first announced, my thought was, do we really need another version of Watchmen?
October 13th, 1985. On Friday night, a comedian died in New York. Somebody knows why. These days, nobody's safe.
The comedian is dead? Why?
You're supposed to be the world's smartest man, Vite. Ian was active for 40 years. Men make a lot of enemies in that time.
Blake was a monster.
We're society's only protection.
Protection from who?
From themselves.
Who killed Edward Blake?
No.
Maybe this was a political killing.
Or maybe someone's picking off costumed heroes.
I thought I knew how the world was, but then I found out about this gag. I never should have got involved.
Doesn't fit. Waiting for a flash of enlightenment.
A world grows up around me. But am I shaping it?
I want to know who's behind this! It's a joke, but I don't get it!
Every day, the future looks a little bit darker. But the past keeps getting brighter all the time.
It is too late. Always has been. Always will be.
Who's behind this?
I don't know!
Not convincing.
I don't know!
There is good and there is evil, and evil must be punished. Even in the face of Armageddon. I shall not compromise on this.
Ego ipse custodes custodio, thus proclaimed one of the multitude of buttons that festooned the lapels of my long duster coat in 1987. I had, in fact, every Watchmen button that DC had deigned to release officially. I had every bit of merchandise, every volume, every issue there was to be had of Watchmen. The same year that Frank Miller was throttling comic book fans with the notion that Batman could get old and hurt, Alan Moore took a defunct line of Charlton Comics characters and retooled them into the real-world examination of what our world would be like with costumed superheroes. The great fuckaroo here being that Alan Moore created the book with the understanding that when it went out of print, the characters would revert back to him. But even in years when the book wasn't selling, DC kept putting out new editions. Just one of the many reasons Alan Moore now lives on a farm and worships nature deities. I won't say I'm a defender of Zack Snyder's 2009 live-action adaptation. I am a champion of that film. As a visual translation from book to screen, it is unparalleled. That world is fully realized, and it has some solid goddamn casting choices. Who else but Jeffrey Dean Morgan could be the comedian? And what a coup was it having Jackie Earle Haley as Rorschach. Hell, Billy Crudup is credible as Dr. Manhattan. And Malin Ackerman is in it. And Matthew Goode is miscast. Sorry, Antonio. We'll settle up over on Anthology's Attacks next show. He is miscast. They should have cast Jude Law, someone virile. And that movie manages a minor miracle. The book is sprawling and seemed impossible to adapt. I read the first adaptation of Watchmen in 1989. That was Sam Hamm, who had just written the Batman script for Tim Burton. That version jettisoned so much of the book it was virtually unrecognizable. Then it added an opening prologue that saw the Watchmen in action at the Statue of Liberty, failing to stop a terrorist attack. Because you want to add scenes to a story that you're cutting 75% of the original material out of. Over the next 2 decades, there were so many boneheaded attempts to turn it into a movie. The main problem is the ending of the book. Every single draft by every single different screenwriter had a newly concocted ending for the movie, including the Zack Snyder version. The difference between those early drafts and what we got was the new ending made perfect sense. The world needs to be united against a common foe. In the book, Ozymandias creates that foe separate from the rest of the action, and it's only revealed in the final pages. It would have been incredibly jarring on screen, and, quite frankly, unnecessary. What better foe is there than Dr. Manhattan? It doesn't excuse the fucking horrendous old age makeup on Carla Gugino, or on Jeffrey Dean Morgan, or the pitiful music choices. Was I making fun of James Gunn earlier? Bite my tongue. And I know Zack Snyder can't allow an actor on set with less than 3% body fat, but Dan Dreiberg is supposed to be a middle-aged fat man, Zack. I'm sorry. He was fat. So then they released the director's cut, then they released the motion comic. You know, panels from the comic with a few images kind of swaying around a little bit while an actor reads. Dreadful. Then they released the Tales of the Black Freighter anime bullshit. This isn't the order they released them in, by the way. Don't email me about shit like this, please. My point being, then they had the new HBO series set in the events after the comic book. That wasn't in the movie continuity, it was the comic book continuity. Then there were a whole bunch of prequel comics that came out. The Comedian, Friends with the Kennedys. Ridiculous. So, like I said, even with Warner Brothers Animation at the helm, the idea of yet another Watchmen adaptation was not exactly tantalizing. And this was going to be in 2 parts. Boy, was I wrong. This is it. This is the one. If you want to see a filmed adaptation of Watchmen, skip everything else and watch these 2 movies. The voice cast is perfect. There is no one miscast. And because it's 2 movies, the characters are given the room to actually interact and pause and emote with one another. You see why they like each other, and why we like them. And Watchmen was always a mystery. Every version has paid a bit of lip service to that. This one pursues it. And even as steeped in the comic as I am, I thought the investigation here was fairly riveting. The adaptation is by J. Michael Straczynski. Midnight Viewing listeners will recognize the name from his time over on Twilight Zone 85. He'd, of course, go on to create Babylon 5. If I've said anything agin him in the past, it's moot here. He's doing a fucking fantastic job, improving on the comic's dialogue wholesale and reorganizing scenes to maximum dramatic effect. And it doesn't skimp on the bits that made the comic book special. I know Snyder tried to weave in the tale of the Black Freighter comic by literally cutting to a fucking horribly animated version from time to time in the film. It was awful and jarring and took you out of the movie. Watch the theatrical cut of Snyder's movie if you're going to watch it. The kid is reading the comic book. Here, we get the kid reading the comic book, and we get close-ups of the pertinent panels with narration, but then we cut to other scenes where the comic book word balloons appear over the actions of other characters and the narration continues. It's a nifty effect, making all the bizarro connections you know that Alan Moore layered in. These films retain the comic book's original ending. If you don't know it, I'm not spoiling it because I am very curious to see if it worked on you. Even in the book, it was tough to get immediately behind, but I swear, watching it come to life here, it totally would have worked in live action. It would have been haunting, actually. Special shout-out to the voice of Dr. Manhattan. That's Michael Cerveris. He was a Sweeney Todd back when they did that as a concert. Marvelous singing voice, marvelous voice in general. He absolutely nails the detachment and wonder of that character. And Titus Welliver would be a great Rorschach in any medium. Oh, and Katie Sackhoff is brilliant as well as Silk Spectre. Look at you, Katie Sackhoff, just muscling your way into every goddamn franchise. Good for you. Is she in a Marvel film yet? I'm sure it's on the way. Part 1 of Watchmen is on Max. Part 2 is available for purchase, but it'll be on Max soon enough. I'm shocked I enjoyed it as much as I did. I have quibbles about it. I mean, yeah, it would have been nice to have the whole thing animated by hand, or at least given another 6 months to render into absolute beauty, but the designs are great, and the action is solid, and the colors are popping, and I'm going to shut up. We got one more to go, Rip, and then it's time for a boiled egg. Oh, someone's ears just perked up. Are yours perked up too? They shouldn't be. It's Dear Santa.
Every Christmas, something magical happens.
Dear Santa.
When a kid sends a letter to Santa. But Liam...
To Santa.
...is a crappy speller.
This looks like fun.
Oh, that's putrid.
Thank you.
What do you want?
You summoned me.
Not what I expected.
What'd you expect?
In the movies, the reindeer usually have the antlers, not you.
Kid, are you high?
I'm ready for this.
You lucked out big time. I'm way better than Santa. Ho, ho, frickin' ho. You, my friend, are getting 3 wishes.
You mean like a genie?
They stole that from me. By the way, after you make your wishes, I'm taking your soul.
What?
You ain't never had a friend like me. Okay, that I may have stolen from Aladdin. Now we're even. Let me show you a few of the things I could do for you. I'll be right back.
It's Post Malone.
Leo!
Look, I'm worried Santa's going to trick me into getting my soul.
I think he's just confused.
We believe you.
No.
Yo, down here! What are you waiting for? Go make a move! Sue me, I'm thirsty.
I tried everything. That kid's incorruptible.
What about doing something out of kindness?
I don't even know what you just said. I mean, I know all the words, but I just never heard them in that order.
You know this man?
I'm his uncle. Beat it.
Who do you think you are talking to me like that? Oh!
That doesn't sound right.
Pardon me? Kombucha.
Watch this.
Lock. No! Please! Never trust a thought. You just gambled and lost.
Nice to meet you. The pleasure was mine.
Jack Black plus Christmas equals The Holiday from 2007 with Kate Winslet and Jude Law and Cameron Diaz. Yeesh. That's the Christmas movie with Jack Black you should watch. This thing? Oh. I know this is the script that those guys wrote. Those guys being the Farrelly brothers and Jack Black and Ricky Blitt. But I'll tell you what it reminded me of. Back in the early 1980s, a guy named Jericho Stone wrote a treatment for a film about a little girl whose father had just remarried years after his wife, her mother, passed away. The stepmother is the picture of sweetness until she gets alone with the girl. And then she's fucking horrible. Horrendous. And because no one but the little girl sees this, and no one believes her, she begins to believe that the stepmother turns into a whole other creature. She decides, in fact, that her stepmother must be an alien. Here's a synopsis of the movie they made, with Dan Aykroyd and Kim Basinger. Trying to rescue her home planet from destruction, a gorgeous extraterrestrial named Celeste arrives on Earth and begins her scientific research. She woos quirky scientist Dr. Steve Mills, a widower with a young daughter. Before long, Celeste finds herself in love with Steve and her new life on Earth, where she experiences true intimacy for the first time. Quite a leap, huh? That's the feeling I got watching Dear Santa. It's about an awkward, misfit, dyslexic boy who accidentally sends his letter to Santa instead to Satan. And Satan shows up and will grant 3 wishes, at which point he'll own the kid's soul. And the kid's parents are on the verge of splitting up, and the girl he likes isn't interested, and his best friend has horrendous dental problems. Everything I just described appears in this movie. Think of all the promise in those premises. I'm not the biggest Farrelly Brothers fan, but if they had made this in the 90s, it would have been the raunchiest Christmas movie ever made. I'd expect a movie whose plot is predicated on a joke about dyslexia would have a black heart at its center. Instead, it's a gentle Christmas movie. They want to actually tug at your heartstrings instead of ripping them out, which is what the movie really wants. This isn't a genie or the ghost of Christmas whatever. It's the fucking devil. And the only mischief he can think up is making the officious prick of a teacher fart a lot. I get it, it's a kid's movie. But there's no reason to invoke our Dark Lord if you're not going to let him run riot. They may as well have animated a snowman or one of those fucking elves from the mystic land of shelves. If you want to see what this movie actually wanted to be, go check out the segment The Night Billy Raised Hell from the anthology film Tales of Halloween. It's directed by Darren Lynn Boozman, the Repo Genetic Opera fella. It's about a young boy who's goaded on by Satan to commit worse and worse tricks on the community during Halloween. It's a fucking spectacle, and it has way more spark in a few seconds than this entire flick. I think a movie about Christmas dealing with outsiders and fractured families and grief could be great. Fucking necessary, actually. And this film is trying, but there's just too much weight, and the guys behind Stuck on You aren't exactly up to the task. And clearly, a buddy movie between a 9-year-old and Satan is a great idea. This film does have its charms. The kids are uniformly good, resisting that Disney kid over-eagerness, and they're really natural. And Keegan-Michael Key shows up to be awesome as one of the film's few antagonists. And Jack Black is having fun, but he tends to do that no matter what he's in. So maybe do something better next time, Jack. Maybe next time we'll do a Christmas horror movie. We really shouldn't be keeping Joan Collins waiting. Thank you, Midnight viewers, for lending us your ears. If you want these episodes early and commercial-free, head over to patreon.com/Father Malone. Subscribers will also get bonus content. HP, this show's composer and host of his own fantastic podcast, Night Mr. Walters, a taxi podcast, will be joining me on some of those shows, and we're pretty excited about them. Those will only be for the Patreon listeners. Or if money is tight, this is Christmas! Then you can make my Christmas wish come true by giving us 5 stars and giving us positive write-ups and sharing the show and telling other people. Join us this Thursday for a new Anthologies Attack. I think we're doing Pink Flamingos on that episode, which is going to be a blast. Till next time, we'll leave you with a bit of wisdom from Watchmen.
In 30 years, the nukes are going to be flying like maybugs.
My map!
And Ozzy here is gonna be the smartest man on the cinder.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters. And Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.